Hello everyone, I'm Nate and welcome to the channel. So you know what, about a month ago, my brother sent me a sort of introductory kendama from Kendama USA, a real nice and kind of introductory one, real cheap one. And I'd had kendamas for a while, and so I was honestly, it was never something like I kind of caught on to. It was just something that didn't interest me years ago whenever I first picked up a kendama. In fact, I picked up one from Kendama USA, I believe. I don't remember which one. And then ended up gifting that to somebody else just because it just didn't interest me. It sat on the shelf and it kind of just wasn't played. And so when my brother gave me one, I kind of just picked it up and I was like, we'll see if it interests me again. And I caught the bug. So anyways, yeah, I caught the bug, kendama bug, if that's a thing. As I'm learning a new skill toy, all right, and maybe you've been there, maybe you're new to yo-yo, maybe you're new to something else, maybe you've been playing yo-yo now, you know, because maybe there's a little more time on your hands, who knows, that you're picking up new skill toys, or you have that feeling, you know what I'm talking about, that newness, right? And there's that sense that you want to learn as much as you can because it's exciting, right, to learn something new. So this is your PSA, so to speak, from Nate here, but to learn the fundamentals, to really get them down, to hone them in and make sure that you get those so that harder tricks later on will just make sense. I see this all the time with yo-yo. I'm teaching my son even right now, who's 9 years old, who wants to learn all these advanced tricks. And I'm like, buddy, you need to really learn how to make sure you throw a straight sleeper first, you know, like, which he's better at now, but like he's ready to move on to these more difficult tricks. Because he's learned some of those basics, and that really is like such a simple basic thing, but there are so many newbies out there, and nobody wants to be called a newbie, right? Like no one wants to be associated with that. Like you want to look like you know what you're doing, right? Especially if you go to like a yo-yo contest, you want to, like, there's so much to compare to, right? But here's a pro tip: no one cares. No one's watching you. It's kind of like when you go to the gym, and if you're like myself and are kind of out of shape and you're kind of looking around like, oh man, that guy's benching so much more than I can bench. No one's watching you. No one generally cares. And if they do care, whatever, right? That's on them. It shouldn't be on you. But I think that's the way it is with skill toys as well. You know what? We do a lot of comparing. Like we want to be like these, you know, we follow somebody on Instagram that's a pro level and we want to try to get to that level as quick as we can. But stop, take it slow. There's no way you're gonna get there quickly. So if that's your goal, which is an admirable goal, right? If you wanna get really good, say if you're good at yo-yo and you wanna get even better, you wanna get pro level, you wanna be one of the top competitors, take it slow. If you're just starting out, make sure you learn those fundamentals so well so that you can like do them in your sleep practically, right? Simple things, learn those mounts, all that. Back to kendama. I'm finding myself not wanting to practice what I preach. It's one of those things where I pick it up and I'm like, I want to learn something, like I love the concept of like juggling, you know, but I'm like bad at it because I wanted to like rush into those kind of things because those sort of tricks appeal to me, and eventually I'll probably get good at them, but I need to stop and learn those fundamentals. Some of those fundamentals, for instance, would be like hole control, right? And so if I consistently can do things like that, like around the world, and have good hole control consistently. I'm certainly no pro at kendama, but I know from my experience with yo-yo that putting in the work early on is really gonna be helpful later when you're pushing to try to do more difficult tricks that are just gonna take a higher level, right? So for instance, one of the ways I'm learning kendama is I'm working through the Sweets tutorials. So if you don't know who Sweets is, they're one of the top kendama companies out there. They're fantastic. And they have an amazing YouTube channel. And if you go on their playlist, and I'll have a link here in the description. So if you're new to kendama or you're interested in it, I would definitely check this out. They have a beginner tricks, okay? That's what I'm working through, right? That's the kind of tricks I'm trying to land. Now I've branched out on a few others that are more intermediate and so on, just because it interests me. For instance, like I'm trying to learn how to do what's called turntable, right? Because I just think it looks cool, but I'm not good at it. I can't, like, it's not a fundamental trick and I'm gonna mess it up, right? Because I just am. Now I've landed a few times and that's exciting, and there's like that thrill with that, because I know it's a probably more difficult trick than I probably should be trying consistently. What I need to be getting consistent with are those very fundamental tricks, okay? Spiking and so on, and so on and so on, all right? And what's really helpful maybe too is learn some of those fundamental tricks and start stitching them together a little, which also, by the way, new terminology, right? So like into kendama now, I'm just learning the names of these tricks. Like for yo-yo, like I see a trick and I'm like, I know the name of that trick. Like it's new vocabulary, and I think taking it slow will help you learn the vocabulary too. I get the frustration, all right? When you're picking up a new skill toy and you're fresh into it and you're starting to get that momentum and you're learning a trick and you're like, ooh, but there's a trick like 20 tricks away that I want to learn right now. Hesitate, right? Fight that urge to jump to that, because you need to learn those fundamentals. So that's what I'm doing with kendama. I'm gonna take my time with it. I don't know how long that's gonna take, right? It could be a year, maybe not, but it could be a while till I really get those fundamentals honed in enough that I really am confident enough to build on that. And not just get those fundamentals down, but to get them down with the right technique. And especially with kendama, like it's really a bad habit to not learning to use those knees. You know, if you watch, I've been watching a lot of pro kendama players, I've been following a ton of different Instagram accounts. Those guys get low, and girls, they get low, right? They use their knees. It's important to learn those fundamentals and learn them with the right technique. So that's what I'm doing. And hopefully you gain something from this video, just maybe as encouragement. You will get there. It's okay to be a noob. I'm a noob. That's okay. That's not a bad thing. Embrace that, right? And be inspired by people that are pros, but make sure that you're learning the fundamentals. Use some of the resources that are out there. Hone in those tricks, whether that's with yo-yo, or that's with kendama, or that's with beglery, or with juggling, or any other skill toy that you're picking up, especially if you're brand new to it. Take your time with it and enjoy it, right? If you try to push for something that you can't hit yet, you're probably gonna not enjoy it. So embrace those tricks you can hit and like get super psyched about those, and I can guarantee it, you'll enjoy it so much more whenever you can hit those harder tricks. All right, that's gonna be it for now. Hopefully there'll be some maybe more kendama videos in the future. As I get a little better, maybe I'll show you my progress. Be following my Instagram. I'll be putting some things up on there as well, just kind of showcasing my progress, because I love to record my progress for my own personal benefit, if nothing else, so that I can kind of keep pushing myself to get better. All right, that's gonna do it for now. Until the next one, later.